Hey everyone, welcome into our show about The Last of Us. Another episode 3, our reactions to The Last of Us from HBO. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley. How you doing, Burley?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you, Expat?
I'm doing really good. So we're going to be talking about episode 3, long time. So kind of comparing and contrasting the video game to the TV show as we usually do here. But before we do that, just want to let everybody know that these episodes of The Last of Us reviews that we're doing here on the Arena Productions, they are spoiler filled. So if you have not watched episode 3 of The Last of Us on HBO yet, please go and check it out there and then come back and enjoy our recap and review episodes here, because we're going to be talking spoilers throughout the episode. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it, Burley. So it's almost kind of exactly to the dialogue how the video game is to the show, where they're heading out and they're going into the woods there outside of Boston. And of course, Ellie says, I've never been in the woods before. It's like exactly like the video game. To the exact, wording in the dialogue. So, just going through, and you see Joel there at the river, putting his hand in, kind of trying to heal his hand, and then he builds like a little rock memorial, most likely to Tess, because they had just gotten out of that area, and he tells Ellie it's going to be about a 5-hour hike to get to where they need to go. So obviously, in this episode, they're going to Bill's compound. So, what did you think of this scene here?
I like this. And you get the repertoire between both them. Her just trying. She's so just trying to get anything for Joel, just to have just a nice conversation with him. But he's still he is in his bitter, angry mood. He has nothing. Does not want anything to do with her.
Yeah, and because he just lost Tess too.
And he's still hurting over Tess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and unfortunately, the real life voice actress for the game, Tess, had passed away on Sunday as well.
Yeah, and she also played the Borg Queen in the last season of Picard as well. So Annie Wershing. So our hearts go out to her family. Yes, at the moment. So. But anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. So what I really liked about this episode is we get the lowdown. Joel actually explains to Ellie, how the pandemic started, how the cordyceps mutated, and most likely that it started, in like granary factories, like in Indonesia. He doesn't specifically say Indonesia, but obviously from episode 2, the beginning, you see, how it started. And so he gets it spot on there about how it started and how it broke out. Within like a few days, everything was gone. And then they get to this area here. And this is something that you really don't see. I don't think you see this in the video game. But he doesn't want to take her on this one route, but she wants to go that route. And so they get to this area here with all the skull and bones and everything. And he explains to her basically that the quarantine zones didn't have enough space for everybody. So basically the government executed a bunch of innocent civilians, just loaded them up in trucks and then just took them to this particular area and just shot them all dead. What did you think of this scene, bro?
Yeah, this is something, I think it's at one of the optional conversations in the first game. You can get that.
Okay.
If optional. I remember correct. Yeah, but it's one of those things you can easily miss this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's no surprise that that was a thing that was done, and just to have Joel have to explain it to her and her reaction and all that. Yeah. You could just feel the emotion of him explaining it.
Yeah.
Or as Spock would say, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Okay. All right. Good analogy there. Okay, then they obviously, I don't have an image for it here, but they get to that little market there, and then Ellie goes down underneath into like what it looks like the maybe the manager's office or the basement area, and
Mhm.
she finds an infected person there, and then she just goes right up to it with her knife and starts carving it up a little bit, and then finally stabs it dead. Yeah. And then Joel obviously leaves the machine gun there because they don't have enough ammunition. But yeah, it was an interesting moment there where you see, and you see it later in the episode too. I mean, when we get to Bill and Bill's story, you see him like right at the beginning of the outbreak and everything, that he actually goes to that same market, and breaks in there and of course fills up the gas and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, that was an interesting scene as well. What did you think?
Uh, I really like the little arcade stuff, and in there
Yeah,
is where Ellie's.
Mortal Kombat 2, yeah,
That too.
the
Yep,
the machine, yeah.
I was about to say that. Yeah, and then I love in there because like Ellie's still trying to get a gun. She's like, "Well, now it's only two of us." He's like, "No."
No, no, no. No. All right, so then we get to Bill's story, and oh man, I love the beginning of it, man, because he basically thinks the government are just a bunch of Nazis and all. He hates them,
Mhm.
and he's like in his bunker, and he hides. I love how he was hiding when they started rounding up all the people, and the government was spray painting the houses, making sure that they were all checked and everything, and so Bill's house was, spray painted. But then they all leave, and then he's all by himself there, and then he just builds up that fortress. And I just love when he's sitting there by himself eating, and he's watching the monitors. He's got several monitors, like with the webcams and everything. And then you see one of the infected like walking out there, and then hits the tripwire and just boom,
Oh,
and he's like, whoa, and then he's like, it never gets old. You know?
yeah.
I love that part. That was pretty cool. But and then anyway, then of course we get Frank, and we don't get Frank in the video game, but we learn about him in the video game. But I mean, we
Yeah.
actually get him here, and I mean, this whole episode basically became the Bill and Frank's romantic episode of how you know he meets Frank. Basically, Frank falls into a ditch, and
Well, not a ditch. It's one of Bill's hole traps. that he
it's a
puts-
hole
yeah.
trap or whatever. Yeah. And then of course, once he finds out he's not infected and all, he lets him out, and then he lets him into the house, and makes him something to eat and all. And then of course Frank goes up to the piano, and then we get the Linda Ronstadt song, long time. And that's basically the whole part of this episode focuses on that song, and of the relationship that's built between Bill and Frank. What did you think?
I like this little twist that most of this episode is not on Joel and Ellie. This is all on Bill
Right.
and Frank, and
Yeah.
it's a nice kind of thing. Like I love it that Bill was just like one of those doomsday kind of preppers.
Yeah.
He saw the opportunity, they all leave, so he just waits, gets his camera set up, hides
Yeah.
away, and like, yeah, you ain't getting me in this time. You ain't tricking me. And then, slowly, fills things up, get himself fortified, gives himself electricity, food, ammunition from all over, and he's all
Yeah.
good. And then
Yeah.
I love that, like you said, seeing the zombie just infected go into his trap, and him just, this is his cable. This is his entertainment.
Right.
Just watching
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And then when when he meets Frank, brings him in. I love the conversation. Like when he gets Frank out of the hole, Frank's like, "Well, can I come in and just get some food?" He's like, "No," because he
Yeah.
says, "You want to go to Boston? You walk that way, you get to Boston." He says, "Because if I let you in, feed you, you go. 20
Yeah.
other fucking people are gonna be here and knocking on my door for food."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like he's not wrong, especially with how this
Right.
world is.
Yeah.
And this was like the early days.
The early
of
days.
this.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
And-
Frank's able to convince him to let him in.
Yeah. And in this episode, we have a lot of time jumps too. We have like 4-year time jumps, and then like
Mhm.
10-year time jumps. So yeah, I mean, the relationship between Bill and Frank was the central focus of this episode. But I liked when they showed, of course, the scene where Frank invites Joel and Tess. So we get more of Tess in this episode, a younger Tess and a younger Joel, as they come and they have like lunch over at the compound there. And I like this scene where actually, I like the scene before where it's like Bill has the pistol like on the table.
On table, that was so good, and I love it because you got that. You got him having the pistol on the table, and Frank's like, "Can you really just put this away? You're ruining this whole thing." Yeah. And Bill's like, "No, I'm not fully doing that because I don't trust these two."
Yeah, well, he doesn't trust anybody except for Frank, So
yeah. And I love it. Like, Tess is just there. She's just being a sweetheart. And it's nice to see, like, where we're still, even though she's dead in the show, we still could get flashbacks with her and have her throughout more of the show. I really like that. I love her and just Frank walk off, and you got Joel and Bill there just talking, and Joel's like, you need us. We got stuff. You've got stuff. We can trade and work things out.
Right. Yeah, and then he tells him, and it comes true later in the episode, where raiders are going to be coming. So you better prepare yourself more for it, Yeah. So they're going to be coming. So you're going to basically need our help, and we could help you, especially with with the fences. He was talking about fortifying the fences more, where it'll last your whole lifetime, rather than just like 1 year for what the fences are, in the state that they're in this particular scene. Yeah. So anyway, then we get farther into the episode, and then the sad part here, of course, Frank is, he's dying from an illness, and obviously, he wants to die, and he tells Bill, this is going to be my last day. So let's get married. Let's do all this stuff. And of course, Bill makes the same exact meal that he made for him on the first day they met. And they sit there and they have it and they drink. And obviously the wine is laced with the medicine that Bill says could just kill a horse, but little do we know until, a minute or so later, Bill had actually drank the same wine. And so both of them were going to die together because, Bill basically, he felt, I saved Frank, and my whole life has meaning now, after the pandemic started and all, because of Frank, and so they go to you see him wheeling him down the hallway there and into the room, and that's it. What'd you think of this?
I really like this, and this is such a change up from the games. Bill just he knows Frank's going and does not want to live without him because they've had this relationship for, I think it's well over 10 years or 15, 20 years, whatever the time frame is.
Yeah, about 20 years. Yeah.
So it's like, what? They quickly do the marriage ceremony, then wheels them in, has the dinner, and they just die peacefully after their meal. Yeah. I mean, it was a great scene. And then of course we get, obviously Joel and Ellie. So they've probably had been dead since episode 1, because when we heard the radio, so we basically find out who it is who was playing the, the music over the radio. It was Bill, playing all the 80s hits and stuff. And, they go into the bunker and they find that out. And then, of course, Ellie sees the huge armory there, all the guns all over the wall. And she's like, let me have one gun. It's like the whole wall is just painted with guns, and then, Joel is still not having it. And then she goes into the living room there and gets the gun from, the letter drawer and all. I think that was the actual pistol that Bill was, had on the table while they were eating lunch together, Joel and Tess. I think you're right on that. Yeah, same exact gun. So anyway, Ellie obviously finds the letter on the table, and in it basically
Bill, tells them that don't open the door. We opened the bedroom window and all, so the stench wouldn't come through the house. But you can get whatever supplies you need and all. And
Yeah.
what really hit Joel hard was Ellie said Tess's name and then stopped, and then he took the letter from her and read where Bill was saying, protect Tess. And I think that hit him hard because now it's not Tess that he needs to protect, it's Ellie that he needs to protect. And it's like Bill was, trying to mention to Joel that, for all this time now, Bill or Frank gave my life meaning to Bill. And so to protect him. So, protect Tess, meaning now protect Ellie. And I thought that was, a pretty, pretty interesting and pretty, emotional scene there. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that was definitely a really emotional scene there, and you can see it as Joel is reading it, how it's affecting him.
Yeah.
And I do like that Ellie is sneaking around finding the gun and just taking it because she's wanted it since episode 1. So it's like this is going to be interesting when they get into a fight and she uses it and Joel realizes she's got a gun.
Yeah.
And then at the end, just them reaching around, going through the house, getting everything they need. I like
taking a shower and everything. She's like, they got hot water because earlier in the episode you see Bill going to the gas plant there and turning the gas back on and all, so he could have the hot water. But I really enjoyed it. It was a great episode, and I give it a 10 out of 10. It's probably the best TV show episode of the year so far, and it could be of this year. It was really powerful, and it was kind of it was a kind of a change in a sense from the video game.
This was a massive change, and I kind of like it. This is something different we didn't expect. As we said, all three of us on episode 1, it was like, where are they going to go with the show? What the story is, and it's like, they're doing this. It still has the same kind of end result of them getting a car and leaving, but they changed the whole thing. Bill is dead, and Bill had died a long time before the game ever started.
Now, I think this is from the Last of Us video game here. I think this is one of the windows here at Bill's house. But it's interesting. You see Ellie's knife there next to the window. But it's good stuff. So great episode. And obviously they get they get Bill's mini truck there and drive off. And as they're driving off, obviously Ellie finds a cassette tape of Linda Ronstadt and long time, the song, and puts it in there, and they're playing it, and you see them driving off into the sunset there, and then of course it pans off to Bill's window being open there. So it was a great episode. So looking forward to episode 4. Obviously they're going to be heading out into the country, into the west, going out to Wyoming, to Tommy's area. So I don't know if they're going to get there in episode 4, but I think they're going to be showing the cross country trip during episode 4. But
I'm sure they'll give you snippets of it. They'll do enough. The game, you're not much long in the car. You get the one cutscene and then the car is done. So I'm sure they'll give you 5 minutes of that. But I thought we were going to get another cold open, where we were going to get did with the last episode. But I have a feeling we're going to get one more cold open through the rest of this season. Just don't know. Will it be next episode? Will it be later on in the season?
I thought we were getting another flashback at the very beginning, but no, it just went right into the opening credits and everything, and the music and stuff. So, but all right. So that's going to do it for our recap and review of episode 3 of The Last of Us here on the Arena Productions. So if you liked this video, please be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and the notification bell for whenever we drop a new video here on the Arena Productions. And please be sure to leave us some comments. What were your thoughts on episode 3? We'd really like to hear from you. So, and all of you coming back and watching our videos, we thank you all for your support. Thank you so much. So until our recap and review of episode 4 next week, that's going to do it for us. So take care, everyone. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.